But at least now it can't get much worse.
But it did get worse.
How's it going, guys? It did get worse. I forgot that I was going to start 10 minutes early today, but then I didn't remember. And we started 2 minutes late. So as it is. How's it going, guys? And look what we have here. We have Idubbbz, and he is man-spreading. Imagine that. So you know it's going to be a good one, because today, let's hear from the man himself. What is Idubbbz talking about today? Let's have a look.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Idubbbz Complains. I am coming to you live from Barcelona.
First of all, obviously it's not live, and I'm going to be judging every little nitpick. So don't even at me, okay?
Yeah, Spain. If you guys aren't familiar with Barcelona, I recommend you keep your eyes on them. Okay?
Well, I don't know what bit he's doing here, because he's actually in Canada. He's emigrated to Canada, and he's living in his mother-in-law's basement. You can see, like, they're not having a good time over there.
They're looking like a pretty hot team this year. Well, I know the season's coming to a close, but let's just say that some of my boys on the inside have told me that they have been taking steroids, which is going to improve their soccer performance. Today's episode of Idubbbz Complains is all about immigration and xenophobia and racism.
So you know it's going to be a great episode. It's going to be a great time on the Idubbbz thing. Now, this is a very interesting one. I think people will enjoy it. But starting off, some rando gave $10. He said, this $10 is for Mutahar. I personally like the guy. Hey, look, if you like Mutahar, that's fine. I think that if he just came out and said the truth, he'd be just fine. Since he's been hiding, though, I feel like it's going to be worse for him. But he's still missing in action for, I believe, 6 days. But we're going to continue. Is he for or against? What do you think? What do you think he's going to be talking about today?
And TikTok and the TikTokification of xenophobia. The interest in this topic was spurred on from a guy named Kurt Kaz. Now, this guy, Kurt Kaz, he is a travel vlogger. So you would think with all the traveling around the world, that would really open your mind to different cultures, different ways of life, and how we're all just people trying to live. But unfortunately...
Well, I mean, maybe. But if you travel to certain countries and things aren't very nice, it might give you perspective on your home country and protecting the things that are important to you. Now, this guy, Kurt Kaz, I'm not like a big fan of his content. He does kind of like those really clickbaity, like you got a big boober woman in the thumbnail, like Venezuelan girl lets me into her house. Venezuelan girl takes me into her hood. But basically what he does is he goes to kind of like third world countries, dangerous countries and stuff. And he makes kind of like this sort of content you might see on like Bald and Bankrupt or something, or kind of like just traveling in dangerous locations. So he actually has a lot of experience going to places that have not the best conditions. But in today's episode, Idubbbz is critiquing him going to Rome, Italy. And specifically, he's talking about the migrant workers. Now, Idubbbz is very sneaky in this video because he doesn't represent it very honestly at all. Now, I do have problems with Kaz's video. But Idubbbz tries to paint this picture that he's just some South African guy that's just trying to get rid of every single migrant in the world and that just hates them because they're migrants. And that's not the case, actually, if you watch the video. So let's see what Idubbbz has to say.
Fortunately, he's a great example of how you can travel the world, and as long as your mind is fucking closed, everything you see is just going to confirm your biases.
This is very ironic coming from Idubbbz. As a man who is currently an immigrant into Canada, he should understand these things. But no, if you travel the world with your eyes opened, you can see the good and the bad, and every country has good and bad points. And a lot of people, myself included, are very frustrated when people don't, take the correct procedures to immigrate, because it reflects badly on all of us. And it actually affects me personally. So I'm a little bit peeved about this situation. But let's continue.
Look at this. Look at the fucking state of the city. This is Rome, guys. This looks like in Bangladesh or something. Look at this, guys.
What do you mean, or something? I would like to hear more, but you're just saying it looks like Bangladesh. Is that because there's people from Bangladesh here? Or are you just assuming where people are from? There's a lot of people with brown skin in the world, and they don't all come from Bangladesh. I don't know, do they have fresh...
So clearly this guy just hates brown people. Now, if you actually watch the video starts off with them hunting pickpockets in Italy on the trains. And they go all around like Colosseum to parks and things like that. And they even expose one of the pickpockets. And they're mostly like, I think, Romanian gypsies. But they're essentially just basically the same color as anyone else in England. Not England, sorry, in Europe. So let's have a look.
There they go. She's on TikTok.
See, this is the people they start off talking about. But then Idubbbz is going to try and tell you that he's just going after these poor African migrants, and he doesn't even tell you what actually happens in the video. He's just like, well, this is just Bangladesh or something. The point of the actual video, and I do think that there's parts of this video that are bad. Like, I don't actually have a problem with the market. The market is fine. There is much more interesting parts of this video. For example, at this point of the video, they're talking about how these migrant workers are lying around in the streets, damaging businesses, pissing all over the place. The ground is so sticky it's covered in shit and piss. They don't even talk about how, specifically in this video, they talk about how they like good migrants that they do things correctly, they pay their taxes, they pay their bills, they are good people in the community. And like, there's even a point in this video where they get up, like they're walking past. So these are the sort of like, this is the problem, right? So it's like, well, it's just because they're black people. But then you actually see, I think it's just like a few seconds after this moment here. Give me a second.
You've been in Europe, in Italy.
It's like right before they get to Carbonara.
Try some good carbonara, man. Win in Rome.
Yeah, it's right behind here.
Wow, guys.
They actually have this guy who is actually like working, who's actually providing for his community, who's actually taking a part in society. This guy actually likes these guys because these guys go around and they basically harass the gypsies that are scamming tourists. They chase off the people that are pissing and selling drugs and things like that. So this guy's actually giving them a thumbs up because they know these guys, these actual Italians that are trying to reclaim the parts of their cities that have been destroyed by some of these policies. Idubbbz doesn't mention that at all. No, he's just going to point. He's just going to say, South African men bad. But let's continue.
Fruit and vegetables in Bangladesh? I mean, that's one indication it might look like Bangladesh. I've seen this guy's videos, by the way. He goes to Bangladesh.
Oh, it is madness.
He's gone to a random
Looks like he enjoys Bangladesh. He's saying it's worse than Bangladesh. You think that might be a problem?
farmer's market where the population of immigrants is a bit higher than other places in the city. And he's saying, yeah, we're in fucking Bangladesh.
Well, specifically, I think this market is fine, actually. I feel like this was a mistake that Kaz made. This market seems fine, but it just looks like an international market, honestly. But it's not just some place. It's literally 1 kilometer from the Colosseum. And the funny thing is, when I was doing my research, which I think Idubbbz either did and didn't tell anyone about, is that they go to a place here, because I recognized it when I was zooming in. This is the train station. This is the wet market is right, well, just market is just here. And Idubbbz is going to call it like a fun little farmer's market or something. I recognize this shadow because they actually go to this park. And here's a fun, yeah, it is. It's the Termini, yeah. Here's a fun little fact. When you try and look at the street view, and I'll confirm it for a second. I'll just show it is the same place, right? So you'll recognize these places back in the rest of the video as we're watching it. But there's a fun little fact here that I found. This is the park where they go, and Idubbbz will say that there's just people like chilling out, like not worrying any, you know, just having a good time or whatever. You can't actually go on this street on Google Maps. I was like, wait a minute, why can't you do that? So I decided to get a closer look. I had a look in here. Okay? This is the area that they're in. And this is the street you can't go down. This is the street you can't go down. I wonder why even the Google car was like, you know what? This is a little bit too Rome for me, maybe. Maybe it's a little bit too authentic. I don't think we could go down this street in particular, which is very, very funny because this is where they do the video. You'll see these arches later in the thing. I just thought that was hilarious that they went down every road around this area, but not this one. We can't go down this road for some reason. Some random with another 10 says, this $10 is to Idubbbz. What is to the Idubbbz is a wanker foundation. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. All right, let's see. So let's continue to find out if Idubbbz is scared of immigrants.
Look at the state of this place.
You mind telling us what the state is?
Look at...
All right, well, let's take a look. It doesn't look great. This is the other side of the market. It doesn't look great, okay? I don't think it's controversial to say that you don't want your cities covered in trash. You don't want them covered in graffiti. You don't want to be scared to walk in your cities, okay? Now, is this just a bad part of the city? Well, I mean, it's just literally a kilometer away from the Colosseum and next to the major train station. That's not a good position to be in. That's the state of it, okay?
The fucking state of the city. Look at the state of this place. Look at this, guys. Look at this.
But I don't
The market actually looks fine, though, I think.
know what the state is. I need you, the vlogger, to tell me what the state is.
All right, well, the state of if you actually pay attention and watch the rest of the video, is they go to a park and they get chased away by drug addicts. They're chasing pickpockets on the trains. They actually find like the abandoned wallets and stuff that people are being like stealing and then ditching, like phone cases and stuff. Let me see if I can find that part for you. Right here.
This is who they're stealing from. Old people.
Yep.
Old and vulnerable people. Look at this.
They're stealing from vulnerable tourists, old people. These are the people. And like half of the people they go after in this video are actually white as well.
Look at this, guys. This is Rome. This is Europe. Does this look like Europe to you?
Yes, it looks like Europe to me. What the fuck else are we supposed to gather from this video?
I mean, this does not look like Europe. This just looks like a market. Ian is being so dishonest here. It's pathetic. Bobchi with a 5 says, Ian never leaves his house. Never does anything of value. Kurt has been everywhere. Who's the better judge? That's a good point. I mean, this probably looks just like anywhere that Idubbbz goes because he lives in Canada. But let me remind people to like this stream. It does help, as I said a little bit earlier. Much appreciated for this one.
Yo, it's like this guy. This is so obnoxious. A lot of these guys that we're going to look at, they have an idea in their head.
When he says a lot of guys, he means 2 people. He's going to look at 2 people. There's this guy and the really funny Scottish guy that goes around and plays bagpipes in India.
Of what European culture is. Their idea of these things is like a caricature. It is like a postcard. It is not like what they're actually experiencing on a daily basis.
This is just completely disingenuous. Like when you think of a country, yes, there are stereotypes, but there's a certain standard that you're expecting. And the fact that people actually have things like Paris syndrome is because of the disconnect of what the reality is in modern places like in Europe. Like Japanese people literally have a self-deletion hotline in France for Paris syndrome because they go there. The streets smell like shit. They think it's going to be romantic. They think there's going to be French people there. And what do they say? They say shit on the streets and a bunch of migrants that are trying to pickpocket them and just they're not prepared. It's perfectly reasonable to think that you can go to Australia and see an Australian and he'll say g'day or something. Or you go to a Kiwi and he says kia ora. Or you go to America and someone offers you a hot dog. It's okay to think these things, okay? Now, is that going to be your exact experience? Maybe not. But there absolutely is a stereotype for every country because it's just based off what the country is, right? What's this? Billy Oki says, I'm literally watching me reacting to a eunuch reacting to some guy. Yes, we're very deep on reactions this week. I'm very busy this week. Because I don't know if you guys know. Well, I'll talk about it later. What are
these people doing on a regular basis? Selling and buying a bunch of produce in a market. And he's saying, this isn't Europe. I'm not seeing any white cheese vendors. This is nothing like Europe. This is nothing like Rome.
I don't see a single Italian here, guys.
Like this part here of this video is a bit disingenuous. So I do think that Kaz could have done a better job here because you can absolutely see white people in this part of the video. He's being a little bit sensationalist. Is he a bit of a grifter? Yes. But is this a real problem? Absolutely.
I am more Italian than any of these people. Look at this.
I don't see a single Italian here.
I don't see a single Italian here, guys. I am more Italian than any of these people.
Okay, dude. What the fuck are they? What the fuck are these people living in Italy? What?
Look, I live in Japan. I am not Japanese. It's pretty simple. Okay? And I'm learning that very quickly.
What does an Italian look like? You don't see an Italian?
Like Italian, you think like olive skin, gladiator type person, like Kurt Russell in Gladiator. That's what I think of when I think of an Italian.
What are they going to wear? A name tag? Yeah, my name's Riccardo, the Italian. Maybe instead of saying, I don't see any...
This was not a stream. This is a video he pretended to stream. The entire reason that this video exists is because he's desperate to try and help out his buddies, or that he thinks that his buddies are, because the entire reason is just the end here, where he like shills for Frogan's thing. That's why he's saving the world.
Italians here, you can fucking ask any of these people who are most certainly Italian.
How do you know they're most certainly Italian? They could be tourists. They more likely are immigrant or migrant workers. It's pretty reasonable to assume that.
ask them if they're Italian. I might not look like Mario, but I'm Italian. I know, it's hard to believe.
I am more Italian than any of these people.
This is kind of a lie though, because this guy's South African.
By the way, guys, his clothing brand is called Conquest. He's a white South African making travel vlogs that are vaguely xenophobic, and his clothing brand is called Conquest. We got to retire one of those things at least. I would recommend the xenophobic part, but you could also change the conquest part as well. You know, at least one.
Saying that the streets is dangerous. Perché?
Perché hanno I coltelli tutti quanti, I macheti.
Okay, so the Italian guy is saying they've got machetes, it's dangerous, and yeah, this is not a safe part of town apparently.
Machetes. Look at all these guys. Look at all the shit on the floor. And here they are, just loitering. Very dangerous, he's saying.
Se passo là io adesso, sono un centinaio, mi caricano, sicuro.
So this is the
I mean, it's fair to make jokes. It's just a joke, you know. Like this guy, he shills this Conquest brand in his video. I think he's got like a partnership for it or something. But no, it's just a funny thing to say. It's fair. I mean, is it an argument? No, but it's just like color commentary. Which is, never mind.
part of the video where they really up the levels of propaganda. They start you off softly implying by just showing you like, this isn't like the postcards of Europe that you
my thing went out. I went into really mad mode. Oh, there we go. We're back.
You see, you guys have heard of Rome in your history class. You never saw pictures like this. You saw beautiful things like the Colosseum, but now you have to see immigrants. And then you get to this guy who's like, all right.
This isn't how they start off the video. The video starts off with them on a train, chasing train. This is how the video actually starts off. Trying to catch this like white, well, like Italian or Romani woman, gypsy, whatever you want to call her. I would call this white. I would call this white, honestly. This is how it starts off. It starts off on the train trying to catch these female pickpockets that are very clearly European. But Idubbbz wants you to have you believe that it starts off in this like market where they're just going after the Bangladeshi people or something. Complete lie. Because he's trying to garner sympathy while he's in his piss filter room.
Now that I've primed you, I'm going to tell you how dangerous this street is that's adjacent to the farmer's market. Never mind the fact that none of you have any idea what this market is, what this street is. He's just...
Actually, I do know what the market is because I looked it up. And I know. I know that even the Google cars were afraid to go onto this particular road down the way. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look great, honestly. Now, is this like maybe... Is it a little bit cherry picky? Maybe, perhaps. But no, this is a problem that happens all over Rome and all over many countries because nobody likes pickpockets. Nobody likes these travelers that try and scam tourists that are just trying to enjoy a little 1-week holiday from their job. It's the strangest thing in the world for Idubbbz to come and try and defend these people. Literally nobody likes these people.
Going to act like he's an authority on the matter and vaguely imply that it's an immigrant problem and not a poverty problem. By the way, when I was editing this, I found the rest of this clip. He ends up leaving the marketplace and they go to some random public area and harass some people who are just minding their own business.
Actually, that's not what happens. This is what Idubbbz says. This is not what happens.
About how he's from Europe and he's more Italian than these people. I think he mentions Africa at one point.
We're in Italy. We're in Europe. We're not in Africa. Get away from me. Okay.
What actually happens when they go to the park, which is if we go back. The park is right here. So it's right next to the train station. You can actually see the trash. This is actually kind of incredible. You can see the trash from the Google satellites. That's how dirty it is. You can just see all this trash. But no, when they go to the park, what happens is they're talking about how this public space is being co-opted by these people that are just selling drugs or getting high, breaking bottles, threatening people, and trying to scare people away and co-opt this space.
Man, look at the state of this train. Ancient. This
is what actually happens. Idubbbz is not telling you this. This is the park, so you can notice the same features here.
Just right here in this park, there's all these drug addicts. Yeah, kids.
And the woman that they're talking, not the woman, but there's a woman and this guy here. They try and harass them, and they actually end up spilling water on them and like throwing stuff like that, trying to get them out.
Smoking crack.
Smoking crack.
From, Bangladesh. Why you come to Italy?
I mean, it is kind of funny that this guy actually happens to be from Bangladesh.
Huh? Why did you come to Italy?
Ti sei fumato? Ti sei fumato? Perché ti sei fumato? Accendino. Guarda, guarda che c'è.
Look, he's got some drugs in his hand. Man, this whole park is just full of these kids. Look at the state of Rome. Look at the state of Europe, guys.
Oops. I'll go forward a little bit.
È molto pericoloso.
See?
Watch out, it's very dangerous here.
È molto.
Look at all of them.
So they go here. They're just in the public place. Now, are they being rude? Perhaps. Are they filming people? Sure. But it is a public space in Rome. And you can look at how much fucking trash there is here. It's disgusting. And they try and get scared away by these people that just want to try and do their criminal activities here.
Oh, now they're getting angry. Look at them.
See, the second they show up, they start getting threatened by these people. Idubbbz is trying to say that these people are the aggressors. Like, what's his name? Kurt is the aggressor. That's absolutely not the case.
Pericoloso qua. Molto pericoloso.
All of these guys are kids.
No, che li prendiamo,
Addicts.
che li prendiamo in faccia. Stiamo facendo vedere.
Aquí spazio pubblico, eh?
Tutto qua, guarda.
Aquí spazio pubblico. Aquí spazio pubblico.
Non te li
The
prendi.
public space.
Non te li prendi.
Spazio pubblico, amigo. Spazio pubblico, eh? Spazio pubblico.
Seems like these are the ones that are coming up to them, and it actually goes forward.
Keep your seat. Don't give
I'll show you, just show.
Come. Look, now he's gonna spray us with water. Come try. Come try. Come try. Come try. Come try.
They're just minding their own business. They're just minding their own business, and they start harassing these innocent little loiterers. That's what's happening. Well, there you go. There you go.
Our country.
That's what's actually happening. Now, this is true. It is not this guy's, Kurt Kaz or whatever. That's not his country. So it's a little bit silly for him to say that. It's a little bit cringe for him to say that, sure. But Idubbbz is just so fucking disingenuous with this review.
Yeah, Europe. Are you from Europe? I'm from Europe.
Oh no, Europe is being overrun. Someone save Europe. Now, these videos themselves are very
Idubbbz is here to save Europe. That's what he's here to do.
bad, but when you go into the comment section, you realize how many people these bad ideas are attracting. So, man,
Let's go into Idubbbz's comment section for just a second. Let's take a look. Congrats on 6 million subs. Been here since 7 million. That's a good one. Idubbbz's husband. I can't wait to hear Anissa's American husband tell me what he thinks about Europe is supposed to be like. The comment section's about to go crazy. Well, that was true. Oh my goodness. This is so funny. This video reminded me that I forgot to unsubscribe. Oh my gosh. How many immigrants are you supporting, Mr. Idubbbz? There was a comment that was missing here that I think has been deleted by Idubbbz. But it says, like, why isn't Idubbbz inviting migrants into his home? Which is a good question. Why is he living alone in this house? I guess he's not living alone. He's living with Anissa and Anissa's parents. But why doesn't he invite the migrants into his house? Interesting.
it says import third world, get third world. Well, these are not imports. These are human beings. But if you're referring to, you know, there being a farmer's market, that's kind of a first world thing. That's just called a regular market everywhere else. So yeah, you're.
I don't know. He's just trying to say farmer's market because it sounds cute. It sounds like, oh, it's a little farmer's market. It's a little adorable little farmer's market. No, it's just a market. And I think that, yeah, like this market looks fine, actually, to be honest. Outside the market looks like a fucking nightmare.
You're wrong, and you're also stupid. This is what the liberals want in America. Yeah, and they're getting it. They're getting their farmers markets, and they're loving their farmers markets. Thank you for making this content and hopefully waking up the European people. Oh yeah, this is something that you're going to see a lot, is people just sort of, when it benefits them, they will invoke the continent of Europe, and when it doesn't benefit them, they'll be very specific and say, oh, this is a real problem in the UK. This is a real problem in Rome. Europe is finished.
This is literally, I mean, the UK isn't part of Europe anymore, right? I mean, colloquially, you could say it is, sure. But this is literally a problem in all of Europe.
Rome has fallen again. Oh, man. Yeah, farmers markets will be the end of Rome. This is what America would be if Trump didn't put a stop to it. Yeah, and how's that working out? Import third world, become third world. I don't like. I just came back from Rome, and yes, it was bad. Scammers and graffiti everywhere.
I mean, this is just true. Like, I'm sorry, everyone that's gone, and I haven't been to Europe, but everybody that I've heard gone to Europe has told me the exact same thing, that it was awful because of all the scammers, that you step off the fucking train or the whatever, step off the plane, step off the train, go to any site, any wonder, immediately you're getting scanned by like all kinds of people from all walks of life. Yes, that's bad. You can say it's bad to scam people. But the thing is, Idubbbz can't say this because he's suffering from white privilege. So that means that he can't say that that's bad, because those people are just trying to make their way in the world. They're just trying to make a living by being parasites for other people.
I'm not even Italian, and it makes me sad. Well, don't let your racism affect you too much. For all you know, the Italians are loving it. This looks like Toronto
I mean, I don't think they are.
as well. Unfortunately, same in the UK, even worse. RIP Europe and UK. They're ruining Canada and the UK right now. Oh my God, we finally found a sensible comment. Every city, state, country has its international sections, i.e. Chinatown, Japantown, Little Armenia, etc. There's nothing wrong with diversity. You happen to be in an international flea market. This is Rome is a false statement. It's just a block, not the state of the city.
Well, this comment is somewhat true. And this is the problem, is that there is some reasonable middle ground you can take in these sort of things. Because I don't have a problem with immigration, but I want people to immigrate legally and I want people to follow the law. That's pretty reasonable, I would say. But this is not just localized to this market. It's all around. I was walking through the Google Streets for ages. It's all around. And like I said, this is 1 kilometer from the Colosseum. Okay, it's not like some crazy port. It's right next to the train station. And it goes on for all of these blocks. And I assume if I go onto this side as well, I don't know. Let's take a look. Maybe this is the nice side of the tracks. I don't know. Oh, it isn't much. No, actually, no, it isn't. There's graffiti everywhere. Never mind. It's all shit everywhere.
Okay, shout out Jack, the man. You just brought the heat. They turn every place they go.
It's funny how, like, Idubbbz is too cowardly to call out these people. Like, he thinks that these people commenting are the racist, so he's blurred their names out because he doesn't want to be seen as bullying these people. But if these people are so terrible, why not just call them out?
Go into the place that they left. I think some people have a selfish mindset in thinking that because they themselves wouldn't leave the country that they were born in or have become accustomed to, that other people wouldn't do that. And if they are doing that, they're doing it for like sinister reasons. It's just like a basic human thought to be like, I want to bring some of my culture into the place that I'm traveling to, that I'm now going to start my new life in. And of course, it's going to be these places that are desirable to go to and that are very multicultural. There's a reason.
Why are they desirable to go to, Idubbbz? What makes these countries desirable? Interesting. And again, he completely didn't mention any of this when they actually talk about how some of these migrants, are integrating. They are running businesses, and they're also victims. In fact, it's usually, and this is the same thing that happened with the riots as well, like in America. It's usually the people that are most penalized by these sort of people are the honest migrants or the honest immigrants that are working and trying to make a life for themselves, because they are in these, and these are poorer areas, I would assume.
What's going on?
But like this guy here they just walked past, like this guy here, he's just trying to run a shop. Okay, he's just trying to run a shop, and he is being affected by the people that are lying, shitting down on the streets, doing crack. These are the people that suffer, other migrants, because a lot of the Italians are going to be wealthier. And they're going to be living in nicer areas, maybe gated communities and things like that. Again, there's no problem with people like this that are just trying to have their own business. See? Even this guy's like, you're good. This is an Italian guy that's trying to clean up his neighborhood. Like, you're a good guy. Thank you. But they'll never, people like Idubbbz will never admit that. They'll never mention that. And it's exactly what happened in America. It was the minority business owners that were hurt the most by the rioting.
Why people are referencing Canada and the UK. It's because people who are immigrating to these countries like these countries. They like that their culture is either already kind of established there, and there are foods and routines and places to go and people to meet that are going to allow them to integrate better into the society. Okay, we got another comment. It says, the world is getting pretty racist. And this person responds with, you can't go into a new country and overtake it like this. You assimilate into their culture. They're also ruining property. So in no way is it racist. It's a pattern. After watching that video, a little while later, I started getting more content that was adjacent to that. This time.
By this, he means he got one video that he saw was trending and decided to try and capitalize on it because he wants to try and make people that, this sort of content saying like everyone's equal, that everybody should have a home. We should all be in the same situations. Everything should be equal. Like there should be no differences based on your decisions or anything like that. We should all just have everything. Otherwise, wealth can only be taken from like poor people or something. Something ridiculous like that. No, that's not the case.
In the form of Robin Bagpipes.
This guy's good. This guy's really funny. So Robin Bagpipes, I've seen a few of his clips, but I haven't seen too much of him. He basically goes and plays bagpipes in funny locations, typically in countries like around India and things like that, and just kind of shows you a perspective of what it's like, how it's so out of place. That's kind of the joke. It's just a meme. It's just a funny thing. So he's got this video like normalizing spreading European culture.
I am proud of European culture. I will not show embarrassment around European culture, and I will continue to spread European culture.
You might be taking a lot of credit here by saying that you're spreading European culture. You'll notice that a lot of people going into the UK and a lot of Mexicans going into the US, they're not doing this shit. They're literally just living their lives. And I think a lot of people like Robin Bagpipes perhaps see, I don't know, Muslim people wearing hijabs or Indian culture being expressed or any of these like foreign cultures and religious traditions, and they think to themselves, oh, this is performative. This would be like me dressing up in my full Scottish regalia and marching down the streets playing my bagpipe in India.
Well, no. It's not just people that are just minding their own business. It's specifically pointing out the ridiculous behaviors that should not be acceptable in any country, like shitting on the streets. That's something you don't want to import to your country. That's a bad thing. There's no benefit to that in any country. So this guy's making a very it's a very obvious, a very iconic, sort of very visible statement about how there are certain things you don't want to take into your countries. It's not people, it's culture. There's good culture and there's bad culture from everywhere in the world. But it's just a social statement that this young guy's making.
It's like, that's not what it is at all. The immigrants going to your country of Scotland or wherever else, they're literally just trying to live. And you interpreting their culture as like this exuberant display or them bringing the third world to your country is just ignorant.
But it's actually happening, though. It's actually just occurring in basically every country in the world, every wealthy country in the world. They're not bringing their best sometimes. Not all the time. Again, if you do it legally, if you follow the rules, if you play nice, if you make an effort to incorporate yourself into a culture, there's nothing wrong with that. And that doesn't mean abandoning your own identity. You don't have to pretend. Like, I don't pretend I'm a Japanese person, but I follow the Japanese laws and I try and, be considerate of certain differences that I might have that would make things inconvenient for people that are with the local people here. And there's a lot of examples like this, like you get with foreigners. Like, for example, people say that Japanese sweat doesn't smell, and that's not always the case, but it's kind of the case because there's like an enzyme or something that the Japanese people don't have, so it makes it so that their sweat literally doesn't smell. Now, if you have like a really big smelly otaku person, yeah, they stink like shit. But when like right now, it's like so fucking hot over here. It's like 40 degrees Celsius, 100% humidity. You go out, you start sweating. And as a foreign person, like a Western person, well, for whatever reason, our sweat is more pungent. It's more smelly than the Japanese locals. So I go out of my way to try and like find like, deodorant, which is actually kind of hard to find in Japan because they have like non-scented deodorant. It's things like that. It's just things like I'm just have to be aware that, yes, I have something that will annoy the average person. It's not just, I'm not a sticky person. This is every foreigner that lives in Japan has to deal with this, okay? Somebody from Japan back me up right now, okay? This is just true. Japanese sweat typically does not smell. But if they wear like 3 days of sweaty clothes, yes, that smells. God damn it. We literally don't even stink. No, but I have to go out and like find like a specialty deodorant, essentially, just like to try and make things better for people around me, because that's the way that that's how we literally live in a society. That's how you have to do. It can mean, particularly in Japan, what it means is putting like your bag on your front instead of your back when you're on a train. And this is because Japanese trains get really crowded, and you don't want your bag to hit somebody because they usually won't say anything like "excuse me." They'll just like be silent and suffer if your bag is like hitting somebody. So it's like being conscious of those sort of things, like these little details to make to not inconvenience your host, essentially. And if if people like that are going to America and being conscious of those sort of things around them, then there's no problem. Nobody cares. But it's these sort of people, like specifically like the ones that are in these parks, Like these sort of people that are trying to co-opt these spaces, trying to take over these spaces hostilely and for their own benefit. They're not just trying to live. They're not just trying to make their way in the world. They're trying to sell drugs. They're trying to do unspeakable things, okay? That's the difference. And admitting that there is a difference between good and bad immigrants is the first step into actually having a proper society where people can immigrate. Imagine the smell indeed. Like, this is true. Somebody back me up on this. Thank God. Their mutated ABC11 gene makes no sweat odor, and I think that's what causes dry earwax. I don't know what... They have dry earwax too? Is that true? I don't know about that. Max is scentless. You're welcome. Yeah, well, you got that just Japanese no-smelly armpits. See, I told you this was real. I wasn't just making this up.
He says, I brought cultural enrichment back to European markets. I love this British market.
Some of these comments are pretty good. Surrounded by doctors and engineers.
He is performing for these Indian people. It's very interesting to them. And instead of owning the fact that this is a great way to spread your culture and also get views online, he's deciding to bring this sort of...
This isn't a great way to spread your culture, by the way. Like, no, he's being purposely obnoxious to make a point. This is not a good way to spread British culture. Bagpipes, even Europeans hate them, okay? Everybody except the Scottish, and even the Scottish hate them, I think, because they're noisy and they're obnoxious. So it's not a great way to know. But it's a good way to get views. Is it a good way to put down Indian culture? Well, perhaps. I don't know. But the fact that Idubbbz is noticing this would suggest that he knows that it's a problem. He just can't admit it because he's trying to be on the good boy team as he sees it. Now, he can't ever be on the good boy team because they're never going to forgive him for saying the naughty words. And that's the funniest thing about all of this, is that Idubbbz will never be forgiven for being a cuck and for saying those naughty words. He's just going to suffer on the outside, looking in, wishing he could go to the Starbelly Sneech parties, but he won't be allowed to because he said the naughty words and he's forever a white colonizer bad boy. It is what it is.
Disgusting xenophobic element to all of his content.
If you hate your own country so much that you want this to replace it, that there's something seriously wrong with you, follow me around the world. You want to spread European culture.
Because I think it's like it caught my attention, and I'm sure it caught a lot of people's attention because of the contrast. You don't often see the little ginger kid in India playing his bagpipes.
My baby don't mess around.
They hate it, and I absolutely love it. Well, you don't know what they hate. It seems like they're very much interested in it. I mean, if you love it so much, then you might want to take up bagpiping culture because obviously it's being, overrun by immigrants. He's fighting for his culture. No. You think this guy's wearing this shit every day? He's putting on a show for you. That's what he's doing. He's not fighting for shit. His culture is probably wearing...
No, he's making a cultural statement. Now, is he doing that for views? Perhaps. Is he doing it for his own career? Sure, why not? But you're just making all these assumptions about this guy that you have no idea about.
Some blue...
I forgot to... Well, I'm going to dislike the video, but you should like the video. I'll tell you what. I'll like Kaz's video. There we go. I'll do it that way. I won't give Idubbbz anything. There we go. A lot of if you guys like bagpipes, let me know. Put a 1 in chat. If you think that bagpipes are obnoxious, put 2. My family, well, my mother's side is from Scotland, and I hate bagpipes.
And eating a cheeky Nando's. That's probably his culture. And, I don't blame him for it, right? That's closer to my...
He absolutely does, by the way.
Culture. I brought cultural enrichment back to European markets. And you have people genuinely confused saying, is this really somewhere in Europe? They don't know. So it's a double...
Isn't that a problem, though? People literally can't tell if it's in India or if it's in a European market. I'm pretty sure he went to India to do this. That's the way I understood it. Isn't that a problem, Idubbbz? If people can't even tell?
Miami. You can say that this is what Europe looks like, but then simultaneously you're not in fucking Europe. So you're fear-mongering, but you're actually also just lying to people. But you can say...
No, Idubbbz is lying to people about the content of the previous video.
Oh, I'm not lying. I'm just being satirical. But is it really that satirical? It's not. What are you satirizing? The fact that
The fact that people shit in streets is what he's satirizing. Let's be honest here.
Exist in your country? Or is it the fact that too many immigrants exist in your country? Or is it the fact that a specific type of immigrant exists in your country? Because you need to be a lot less generally racist to be able to pull off satire. White race, heart emoji. Do this more racist to be able to pull off satire. White race, heart emoji.
If you put any other race here, though, it would be perfectly acceptable. I'm just pointing it out. I mean, is it obvious? Has it been mentioned a million times? Yes. But if this said black race, heart, Idubbbz would be on his knees kissing this commenter. If it said Asian race, if it said any race, he would be they'd be like, oh, brilliant. Why is it wrong to say this one? Also interesting that Idubbbz keeps fleeing further north. And for some reason, he used to live in California, then he moved to Portland, and now he's in Canada. Interesting. What's he do? Why doesn't he just stay? Why doesn't he just stay where he was?
Do this more, please. Show the world what white culture is.
Damn, I'm on my Britney shit. Oops, I hit again.
He's also doing this disgusting AI content where it says Indian jumps into dirty water.
Some of the Indian stereotypes really are true.
I mean, is this actually AI? I'm not sure about this. I think that's kind of a question that he brings up as well. It says it says down here, it is AI, guys, chill. But I'm not sure if it actually is.
It is AI, guys, chill. And then you read the description and it says, I love Indians, some of the friendliest, funniest, warmest people I met on my travels. Then you go to the comments and he likes the comment saying it's not AI. It is so cowardly, right? Because it is, one, not acknowledging that there is already so much racism towards Indians on the internet and in the country that you're coming from. It is perpetuating so many negative, awful stereotypes. And then you're using AI to fabricate something that didn't fucking happen, but many people...
But did it happen? I mean, I think that's the question here. Like, did Idubbbz actually go and verify what this happened? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know. I mean, it looked pretty reasonable. It was just a guy jumping into a river, right? That could have absolutely happened. Indian jumps into dirty water.
It is.
I mean, that could have absolutely happened. I don't know. This does happen in India. Like, there's a game called Pindia. If we go to India, have you guys ever played Pindia? This is a fun one. So you go to India, right? So we've got Google Maps up, India. Now, the way you play Pindia is you choose a random location like this. You drop yourself down, and you see how long it takes you to find some trash. Holy shit. No. We won. We did it again, guys. What is going on here? All right, this is maybe that one doesn't count. That was the practice. That was the practice round, guys. All right, that was the practice round. We'll try it again. Okay. We'll try it again. Anywhere. Closing my eyes and okay. Oh my God! Look at this river. It has to be a fluke. Oh, look at this fucking river. There's more trash than water. Noble Public School. Oh wow, homeopathic clinic right this way. Holy shit. It's also actually I think the original Pindia was you have to find a cow. Should we see how long it takes us to find a cow, chat? Maybe that's the Pindia challenge. I thought it was trash, but maybe it's a cow. I don't know how long it takes us to find a cow. Let's see what we can find. We'll have a quick look. Is this selling coconuts down here? I like coconuts. Coconuts are delicious. Although I think there's like different areas in India where they have cows and they don't have cows, right? So I don't even know where this part was. But I'm not seeing any street cows, which makes me very sad. It can't be trash. Come on. I mean, there's just trash everywhere. Like, it's just the way it is. Convent school. Interesting. The original game was finding shit. Oh, I think we did that in the first round. Oh, I want to find a cow. There's no cows here? Are we not in the cow part of India? I want to see. What is this shop selling? This is fascinating to me because I'll probably never go to India. And should we go to India? Like, I keep trying to get BP to go to India for a Cringe Van Season 2. Driving around India would be a very fun challenge. And the first person to shit loses the grand prize or whatever it is. Oh, I guess there's no cows in this area, but we did find... Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. All right, no more India for you guys. I mean, people do swim in those rivers, though. So I mean, I don't think that's a stereotype. I think that's just accurate, and that's bad. I mean, that's not a good thing. That's not a funny thing. It's just like a horrible thing. Don't do it. Never go to India. I don't know. I think I kind of want to do it just for fun, but I've seen a lot of people do it and have a bad time.
Content where it says Indian jumps into dirty water.
Some of the Indian stereotypes really are true.
It is AI.
I mean, he probably just paid this guy like a $5 or something, right? I feel like this is a real video.
Hi guys, chill. And then you read the description and it says, I love Indians, some of the friendliest, funniest, warmest people I met on my travels. Then you go to the comments and he likes the comment saying it's not AI. It is so cowardly, right? Because it is one, not acknowledging that there is already.
Is it cowardly? I think it's just you got to play the system the way it is, right? If he doesn't say it's AI, then maybe he gets in trouble.
So much racism towards Indians on the internet and in the country that you're coming from. It is perpetuating so many negative, awful stereotypes. And then you're using AI to fabricate something that didn't fucking happen, but many people will interpret as real. And then you go to his page and you realize all of his videos are basically about tearing down and shitting on Indian culture.
Taking India back so we can clean it up. Epic colonization trolling. I mean, these are the kind of this is the kind of humor that Idubbbz loved, though, back in the day. Like, this is absolutely the jokes that he would make. But now he has trolls remorse, so he has to say it's bad, right? I mean, I'm surprised. The thing is, Indian people are very nice. That is true. That is a stereotype, but it's a true stereotype.
And not really even.
They just seem to be very bad at keeping their own country clean for some reason.
And propping up Scottish culture. It's more about saying that Scottish culture is European culture. Very bizarre.
I am proud of European culture. I will not show embarrassment for European culture.
We've heard from a South African and we've heard from a Scottish. Now we're going to hear from a Canadian. I'm talking Mr. Nelk. This might be.
I thought he was gonna talk about himself since he moved to Canada, or his wife. All right.
Very controversial. I can't say it. This is the way I'll say it. Tim Hortons. If I walk into a shawarma restaurant, I don't want to see a white person serving me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
If I walk into a shawarma restaurant and I see a white person serving me, I don't want it. So you can figure out the other side. If I see a white person in there, I'm fucking out. And Tim Hortons, you can figure out the other side.
Yeah.
Listen, Mr. Jelk, it is still racist when you're using white people.
Here's the thing. Ian's the kind of person who will absolutely tell you that if you try and deport minorities, they'll be like, but what about the Indian food? Well, you can't get rid of the Mexicans. What about where are you going to get a good taco? They absolutely use that argument, but this is actually just true. And I have my own experience with this. Because this is true. This is just true. If I go to a Japanese restaurant, I want to see a Japanese person working there. Right? Like, and I actually have an actual experience of this. When me and Max went to Tokyo, right? And we were doing like a cheap day versus a poor day. All right, sorry, that's the same thing. A cheap day versus an expensive day. And for part of the expensive day, I bought Max and I, this is before he beat up the person in the street. I bought Max and I an expensive Kobe beef dinner for like the dinner from the expensive dinner side, right? We went to a Kobe beef restaurant. We sat down and they gave us a white chef. And I was so disappointed. I was like so disappointed. I was telling Max. I was like, I'm gonna do over the top reaction. So this is when Max is eating the Kobe beef. And like they had all these Japanese chefs here, but then they gave us the French chef. And he was a fine chef. But if I'm paying like $200-300 for like a dinner, I want the chef to be Japanese for the video. Because people don't want to come to Japan and get served by a French guy. Unless they're going to a French restaurant, of course. Like this absolutely happened to me. I'm racist. I mean, sure, you can say that if you want. Like I had to like, let me see. Where is this? I got this clip of it. I mean, the guy was nice. Like he was a good chef. It's just that like part of it was the experience, right? I've got these white hands in my video that like I don't think nobody will be able to tell from the hands, but I'll have to edit it in such a way. No, I don't want a French guy serving me Kobe beef. Right? I want a Japanese chef. There's nothing wrong with that. It feels more authentic and it's part of the experience. And they absolutely will say this. If you try and go to a Mexican restaurant or an Indian restaurant, they'll say like, well, you don't want a white person making it, because they agree with this too, but they're embarrassed to say it.
As the example for you to make the racist statement. I want white people to be cooking their white people food and brown people to be cooking their brown people food. That's weird. We don't.
But they literally make this argument. They say this all the time. If you send the Mexicans back, who's going to give you the good tacos? Where are you going to get a good guacamole bowl? I hear this every day from Americans on the left.
Like that, all right? By the way, it's Tim Hortons, not Hortons.
Tim Hortons.
What the hell is that?
If I walk into a shawarma restaurant and I see a white person serving me, I don't want...
Wait, what did you say? It's Hortons, not Tim Hortons? Is that true?
They're brown people food. That's weird. We don't like that, all right? By the way, it's Tim Hortons, not Hortons.
Tim Hortons.
What the hell is that?
If I walk into a...
He just said, what is Idubbbz having a stroke, or am I having a stroke? So Idubbbz says it's Tim Hortons, not Hortons, but then he said Tim's Hortons in the video?
Shawarma restaurant and I see a white person serving me, I don't want it. So you can figure out the other side.
This is the type of rhetoric you hear from conservative dads and grandfathers. Let's put it this way. Do I want a white guy making my kung pao chicken? No. Hell no. Right? That's me.
But this is true. I actually absolutely agree with this. I don't have a problem with this statement. So I guess you got me? But Ian believes this as well.
He's saying, fuck you to the white guy. You know, it's not about race. You know, I don't want white people cooking, I don't know, tamales. You think if I go to Japan, they're just going to welcome me into the #1 sushi restaurant in the world? Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, that's true. Max took me to a sushi restaurant and it said like no smelly people allowed, like unironically. And it was a great restaurant. It was like one of the best sushi restaurants I've been. I'll prove it to you right now. It was actually incredibly based and I had a great time. Here it is. Sorry, this is a bit laggy. I think it's this one. Only reservations were fully booked. Well, that's not the right one. Is this the law? This is the rule? Here, look, this is the Japanese restaurant. People with strong perfume or other scents, go away. No gluten-free persons, vegetarians, no raw fish persons, and no raw shellfish persons. Cannot eat many sushi ingredients. Customers with children, go away. Like, that's what it says. Literally, smelly people get out, and that's perfectly fine. That's look. This is one of the best sushi restaurants we went to. People with strong perfumes and fragrances are not allowed to enter the store. It's perfectly fine. Sushi Yajima is really good. I had a great time there, Max. So thanks for that. It's incredibly based. So like Ian is trying to like make this sound like it's such a ridiculous thing. But no, you go to another country, you should follow their laws. You should follow their rules. You should be considerate. And that's all that this is. Show the sign that says "White Pigu go home." I don't have that one yet.
And would you say that they're racist because of that? Probably not. Probably not.
It's like if you walk into an Italian restaurant, you want Italian serving you.
Yeah. Hold on. We got to ask the chat. We got to ask the chat if this is true. Let's see. You going to Italian restaurant. Who do you want serving you? Hold on. My microphone's in the way of my keyboard. All right. I'm going to be honest. If I'm going to an Italian restaurant, and I would probably expect an Italian restaurant to be an expensive restaurant. All right, not necessarily. If you go, I go to Capricciosa and stuff like that, but which is like a cheap Japanese version of it. But like, no, I want the experience. Of course. Why wouldn't I? Like, it's not. I think this is a very American thing. Like Americans strongly believe this idea that like, and it's kind of true in America. After a certain time, if you move to America, can you become an American is the question. And maybe you can integrate very well, but your children are absolutely going to be Americans. But you don't. If you go to India, you don't become an Indian. If you go to Japan, you don't become a Japanese. It's just the way it is. It's this. But Americans don't believe that. They think that everything should be the same as America.
I am more Italian than any of these people.
Dude, back in the day, when I used to go to Tim Hortons every fucking day, I would get a bagel and cream cheese with everything, and they'd put the cream cheese on both sides. Now what they do is they take the scooper, and they fucking put it on one side, and they fucking clap it like this. It's bullshit.
You're describing...
Is this Tim Horton Bros? Is this true? I also have an experience with this as well. When I went to... look, I won't. Nothing. Never mind.
This generally low-skilled job as like some high cuisine. If someone fucks up half of your Tim Hortons order, it's still Tim Hortons.
What does chat think? My Canadians, back me up.
Unfortunately, for everyone who backed him up in chat, you are, I regret to inform you, racist.
Why don't you just unblur the chat then? Why are you being such a coward, Idubbbz? Why don't you expose these people?
It's gone downhill. And I want to rep Canada and I want to rep Tim Hortons, but like, I don't really rep Tim Hortons like that no more.
We do not care, Dr. Joke. You can take that repackaged boomer racism somewhere else because we're not buying. This guy's my fucking age. Bagpipes seems a little bit younger, which is even a little
It looks like half your age. I'm pretty sure Idubbbz is like 40. This guy's probably like 22 or something.
bit more troubling. And then the Conquest guy, they're my age. And I fucking look at them and I'm like, you
This guy's probably younger than him too. Idubbbz, you're old, bro.
fuckers are traveling to different countries. You need to be the change. You can be a bro and not be racist. You can make a beer company and not be racist. It's totally possible. In closing, I want to speak to all of the people who buy into this rhetoric.
Okay, this is speaking to me right now, apparently. This is directed to me.
There's nothing to fear. You know, people in other countries are just humans living their lives, trying to exist. And when they go to your country, they're also just trying to exist.
No, there is actually something to fear though. Because like I'm actually feeling the effects of this right now. So I'm an immigrant, I guess. I don't know. I don't really call myself an immigrant, but I guess it's true. But I moved to Japan, and I'm on a business manager visa, which is it's a lot of fun. I love living over here. However, because some people have been very, very naughty with the business manager visa, they're talking right now about increasing the requirements for having basically, to have the business manager visa in Japan, you need to have about $30,000 in the bank, USD. And then there's other requirements. You need to have an office, you need to have a business plan, you need to do this. They're thinking about increasing the price of it 6 times, like to $200,000 US. The reason they're doing that is because there are immigrants that are taking advantage of this and using it to bypass various systems. So immigrants behaving badly absolutely affect me. And I don't know. I'm going to find out in, I guess, May. If I'm not going to be deported, guys. Don't worry. It's not because of weebs. It's not because of weebs. It's because of Chinese people. Chinese people, they set up fake companies and they just buy like a house and they pretend that they're doing an Airbnb, and then they just use it to get permanent residency in Japan after like 5 years. That's what they're doing. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens if I start putting up goals in the way of like $20,000 a stream. You're going to know very quickly. Okay, yeah, meme deportium. Yeah, I guess so. Look, if this change goes through and it affects me, I have my own ways of getting around it. Okay, if they want to treat me like that, then I'm going to lean into it. I got a plan, guys. Don't worry, I'm fine. We'll see. We'll see.
And it's not a fight. It's not a war for whose culture.
This is literally what my accountant said. I should just marry my girlfriend and then be unemployed on her, dependent on her, basically. But it's stupid though, because like if Japan puts through this change, I am absolutely going to transfer a lot of my business abroad, where there's a much more beneficial tax rate. So unironically, I'll be going tax-free, more or less.
Is going to win out. It's going to be a mixture of cultures. You're going to have to deal with the fact that a mosque was erected in your city. Oh no, well guess what? You don't have to go to the mosque. It's not a crime for it to be.
I don't know why he's bringing up Muslim people in this, because the previous videos didn't mention Muslim people at all. So obviously Idubbbz is just interjecting this with this because he's trying to appeal to Hassan and Frogan and his wife, who pretends that she's like 80% Lebanese or something when she's like 5% Lebanese. And what's that other one? Denims?
In your line of sight. Before I go, I want to bring your guys' attention to some lawsuits that recently dropped. Frogan, Denims, and Casey.
Here you go. This is the real reason for the video. And that's why he mentioned Muslim right there. Because it's kind of on the nose, but there it is.
I want to bring your guys' attention to some lawsuits that recently dropped. Frogan.
All right, so here's the one. Now, Frogan's one is very funny. Frogan is 1 day away from defaulting on the lawsuit, as I understand it. I'm not sure if there's been any updates on that, but that's what it says of 2 days ago. I was wondering if Frogan's plan is to default on the lawsuit for the purpose to avoid discovery. What if there is some incriminating footage about Daddy Hassan, and he would rather pay for her damages than risk some damaging information being discovered? Of course, it's just a theory. Well, we don't know. We're going to see that in the next couple of days. It may be that they're just planning to file last minute, a la the Bricada special. We don't know. But she's raised, I think she raised more than that. I thought Frogan had $50,000 raised. Let's have a look. Frogan lawsuit. If she doesn't respond to it and she defaults, that means she loses automatically. No, I guess 35,000 US dollars raised, 800 donations. She hasn't done anything with it. Very interesting. We'll have to see. She ate it, maybe.
Denims and Casey.
Casey Tron's one is the funniest one. I haven't really talked about this much, but we'll go through them.
So I want to bring your guys' attention to some lawsuits that recently dropped. Frogan, Denims.
All right, so Denims. I thought she raised the most. But I think that Denims has already sold out the moderators from Reddit and her own moderators, because if you're unaware what's going on with the H3 lawsuit, he's basically killing them all. They're being like slaughtered one by one, and it's very funny to see, even though I think that he's got a very uphill battle for his actual lawsuit, so maybe very troublesome for him. But I think with Denims's case, it was really funny because she just gave up a bunch of information, apparently. And Ethan got the permission from the judge to subpoena Reddit. So all of the snark Redditors are the Redditors are all suffering. And the Redditors are like, well, I mean, we're going to get some of that money, right, Denims? Like that $39,000 you raised, like that's for everyone, right? No, it's everybody for themselves. Suffer, moderators, suffer.
And Casey Tron have...
Now, Casey Tron's is very funny. So Casey Tron's first argument, well, I mean, she's had many arguments, but there's been a couple of really funny ones. The funniest one in particular was she pretended that she never did any of the defamation. And none of the... No, not defamation. It was... Well, I mean, I guess there's a combination of defamation and copyright abuse. But she basically said that, like, Ethan made up that she watched his video on stream and she doesn't remember because she was too high. It's like, no, it wasn't me. That's a weird thing for Ethan to claim that I watched his video. I didn't watch his video, which is not a great legal defense. It's very funny. And seeing her go through these really weird things has been very entertaining so far. So I've been getting my value out of the lawsuit so far.
All been sued and they are trying to fight this off. And
Ethan absolutely feels guilty for this, because he included, well, not Casey Tron, but Frogans and Denims absolutely were in the content cop about Ethan. And very likely, one of the reasons that H3 decided to include them in particular, apart from being attached to Hassan, is because they're all dancing around, laughing at him, saying, wake up, Ethan. And now judgments come. So Idubbbz is obviously feeling very guilty, and he's very sad because he's not allowed to go to any of the parties. That's the thing, obviously. He's trying to... His wife wants to be one of the it crowd, but they're relegated to living in Canada now. And if you watch the Kino Casino, you probably know a lot about their story. It's very funny. They're living in their basement. They can't sell their house. Their house is smelly in America. They're going to lose their investment on it. It's great. It's great to see. It's great to see that they're broke. Harada said, theory, Frogan thinks she can simply avoid service and keep the GoFundMe money for herself. I don't think so. That'd be very funny if she thought that. That would be literally fraud if she raises money from a lawsuit. Because look at this. The lawsuit says, after nearly 2 years of targeted harassment campaign against me, Ethan Klein has now escalated and is suing me for reacting to his video. The fundraiser is to cover any and all legal fees associated with his complaint, any counterclaims I may have to against him, and any other bills. This would literally be fraud if she does that. Oh, yeah, and Bad Empanada's fleet. That's another one I was going to mention. I actually have that loaded up. So Bad Empanada, who's a guy that we mentioned when we were talking about the mindset stuff, 7 days ago, I think there's actually a couple, it's longer than 7 days, but he said, today's stream is delayed. I am fleeing to a different country. And everyone thought it was a joke because Ethan Klein has his detectives, his private detectives around every country. But then H3 posted this on his story. Bad Empanada is on the run. He knows we are closing in. We suspected he had fled back to Australia, but after further research and verification, he's actually fled to Uruguay, which is funny because he's a gay. This information is probably shocking for him to hear, as he went to great lengths to obscure his escape from Argentina to Uruguay. George, if you ever decide to return to Australia, will be immediately notified and a torrent of lawsuits will follow. You are easy to get in Australia, which is why you're doing everything to avoid returning. I know you also enjoy participating in sugar daddy websites. Oh, really? And while you may barely qualify for the label in South America, you are just a repulsive, broke loser in Australia. I know this scares you even more than the lawsuits. Why am I telling you this? So he looks over his shoulder every day. We are coming and we will win. You can run. You can run from us, but we'll catch you and we'll ruin you. Have a nice day. Ethan is going absolutely psycho, and it's so funny. It's so funny to watch. But I've heard that there's a lot of really crazy stuff about this bad empanada guy. Like, I heard that he's actually just a deranged communist that was in, Argentina, I suppose, before, right? Was it Argentina? I thought it was. It said it somewhere. But, like, apparently he's, like, incredibly deranged. And there's this whole things about him. And I've heard some other things that I have not been able to verify, but we'll have to see how that goes. So they're all of the capos are being taken down one by one, and you love to see it. You love to see it.
Believe in their cases, and I think it's important to either set a precedent or send a message that just because you're fucking rich and powerful doesn't mean that you can bully people on the internet. Doesn't mean.
This is what Ian said about, is that he's not rich and powerful anymore, and he's trying to do something. But we'll have to see how it works out for him.
You can bully women, minorities, or fucking people who are poorer than you. And I think it would be good if they can continue to fight this off. So I'm going to put the links to their GoFundMes down below. All right, everyone, that is going to do it for this episode of Idubbbz Complains. I will see you next time when I swing the candelabra.
How many 18 to 25-year-old farm-raised Amish dudes would it take?
I don't know what happened in this part of the video. It's very strange. This is like this last. I don't know if this is like a special meme or something he included. Maybe the chat can help determine what this means.
Fighting together on the same team to bring down one of those great big, huge, biggest of the big, muscled up.
Hola, Idubbernotitos. Bienvenidos de nuevo a Idubbbz se queja. Idubbbz se queja.
Well, I don't see the point. Was that like a reference to the old videos where he used to do Idubbbz Complains or whatever? Anyway, let's see if there's any other banger comments on this one. Terrible day for the unemployed. You lost like 800,000 subs and you deserve to fail. Well, the grapes. Oh my goodness. It's ironic how much colonizers hate immigration. At least immigrants aren't enslaving people and stealing land. I don't know. What do you mean by that? 0 months with positive subscribers since October is crazy. It has to be a humiliation kink. Probably. I mean, I know some people like that. Maybe you should look at the grape and crime statistics pre and post mass immigration instead of virtue signaling about xenophobia. He gets worse with each passing day. Oh, very good, very good. Where was that one? There was like, he must have deleted the one that I saw before because it had like 1,000 upvotes. Oh well. Oh well, it's fun. It's fun to see. All right, let's jump over to Mutahar. So this is from Harmful Opinions, again, who's been on a bit of a tear. I'm going to like his video right now. Mutahar is still missing in action. Very strange for a man that uploads daily, right? He's gone. He's been broken by the internet. And, like, realistically, if he just came out and said, like, yeah, I made some mistakes. I talked big talk. But I'm sorry. Let's get back to business. I think it'd be fine. I think it'd be just fine. Now, if Mutahar is actually getting his engineering degree right now, he's speedrunning it so that he can come back and say that he really is an engineer, even though I think it'd take years, right? But if he's doing that, that's very funny as well. So we'll have to wait and see how the Mutahar arc ends. It looks like 83% of people, when they go to an Italian restaurant, want an Italian serving them. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, if I go to a sushi restaurant and I hear the people talking Thai, I know the sushi's not going to be as good. It's just the way it is. If I go to a Thai restaurant and they're speaking Japanese, I know it's not going to be a good Thai restaurant. It is what it is. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't go to Asian shops for hamburgers, and I don't go to white shops for sushi. It's just simple. It's simple as. And I'm tired of people pretending there's anything wrong with that. It's perfectly fine. It kind of reminds me of that. It's like having buckets of paint, right? If you keep them separate but together, this sounds really bad. This sounds like, all right, this does sound really bad out of context. But no, if you mix all of the flavors and all the colors together, you just get one like amalgamation that nobody enjoys. But if you keep everything apart, together but apart, then you get the colors are brighter and everything's more distinct. Okay, now that sounds really bad, but it sounds really bad. But I think people know what I mean, right? What do I mean by this? You guys know what I mean by this. I feel like there's no recovery from that sentence, actually. Separate but equal. Is that a good way? Is that good to say? Yes, exactly. I'm not. Am I arguing eugenics? No, I'm not. Although I do have a post that is actually pro-eugenics, I guess, technically. Hold on, let me show you. I don't know, does this count as eugenics? My things are loading up for a second. All right. So here's something. Does this count as eugenics or not, Chad? I actually don't know. Somebody look up the... So there's this thing. No more Down syndrome kids will be born. Japanese scientists delete chromosome linked to disorder. I think this is objectively... this is eugenics, right? But this is good. Because if no kids are being born with eugenics, that's a positive. Surely. But there are people that are actually against this. Because they think that... I mean, if you have Down syndrome, you should not die. You're not being murdered, right? I'm not saying that. But not having Down syndrome is objectively better than having it. And I think no parent wants a child with Down syndrome, and nobody wants to have Down syndrome. So this is a better way of life to not have Down syndrome in the gene pool. Now, is this a eugenics argument? I don't think so. I'm not sure. Like, is this the correct... that's not eugenics? Okay, there we go. Is eugenics specifically killing people? I'm going to have to look at the definition now. Because people call this eugenics. Not eugenics because they aren't preventing kids from being born. There you go. Okay, so it's not. Okay, so that's fine then. Okay, so it's not. I think my original argument, which I was trying to talk about, was you need to have places that maintain or at least continue the culture of those original things that we like. So like if you want sushi to keep existing, you need to have places like Japan that remain Japan. You need to have places like America that remain America. You need to have places like India that remain India, because I love curry, right? I love Indian people. It's true. It's true. But you just need to have like these spaces where these people can be the way that they are, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm also okay with the mixing, but I just want I want there to be the original to remain as well. If people that want to mix can mix, people that don't want to mix don't have to mix. That's fine. That's what I want. Is that wrong? I don't think so. But I think I absolutely explained it in a very bad way. That sounds terrible. I know that. I know how it sounds, but I think that people probably agree with me. But it's kind of like a vibe check thing. It's probably like a vibe check thing where you kind of you feel it to be true, but if you can't really quite articulate it. Ah, dear. Anyway, let's just move on and talk about Mutahar. I feel like this is going to get clipped really badly, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. All right, back to harmful opinions. Surely he can articulate these thoughts better than I can.
Face that says I should have picked engineering in college.
For those of you unaware of current drama, it turns out Mutahar of Some Ordinary Gamers is a man who likes to tell stories about himself. Now, that in itself isn't a problem. I personally love to share stories about what I've been up to. But he has this habit of talking about the same thing multiple times in ways that give very different impressions. Just as a quick example before we get into today's topic, one of the main ones people have picked up on is how he talks.
I will say, this is... How do I articulate this? I feel like if I say anything, it's going to be bad. This is not true. It's very funny though. It's very funny, I think. No, I just think that I don't know. There's nothing I can say to him. I'm just going to move on. I'm just going to admit defeat on this one. Okay, it's not true.
talks about his education. In a 2019 stream, he was asked about his academic background.
Education background, asking because a lot of CS knowledge. Yeah, well, I did computer engineering when I went to college. That's what I did.
What does the chat mean by this?
To post-production film editing.
What does this mean?
It was just far more interesting and lucrative. I guess that adds. Anyways, though, I'm going to end the stream for tonight.
I would suggest that if you're asked about your educational background and you say you went to college for computer engineering, you are telling that person you got a qualification. In this case, because it was a live stream, he was telling the world that. But of course, elsewhere, you can find him saying he never got his degree.
You should totally ignore college. I don't use my degree, and I haven't used it for like 6 years.
I didn't even get my degree.
I actually unironically agree with this take that most people shouldn't be going to university. If you're going to something like STEM, then absolutely. And I guess this is because Mutahar is talking about being an engineer. It counts as STEM, sure. But like my degree, I didn't need to go to university for it. The majority of people don't need to go to university. It's a waste of time and money. But I mean, if you enjoy the experience, I can understand that. But you'd actually be surprised if you go straight into the workforce after high school. You'd be really surprised at how well you do versus people that go into massive debt to try and secure a higher paying job. It takes a long time to catch up, even with a career like a doctor or something. If you just go straight into like apprentice for like plumbing, you can often beat the doctor wages until something like you're 55 or 60. But then again, there aren't enough plumbers in the world, so they can charge whatever they want. Those rich bastards.
Dude, that's the best part.
Yeah, nah, fuck college.
I remember the best part about high school was my 12th grade English teacher said that I would amount to a failure.
He's a guy who said what seems to be the truth in some places, if apparently inebriated enough, but is happy to paint a different picture when he's more on the ball. Oh, but technically he did go to college for it, for 1 semester. All right. Try pulling that with the people in your life and enjoy your reputation as a weird lying freak. And another area of his life he seems to have done this in, but I haven't seen anyone picking up on, is his past interest in the military. In 2023, Mutahar was asked about his ability to speak French, and he said this.
I can speak it, like if you put a gun to my fucking head.
I wouldn't speak French even if you did hold a gun to my head, because I hate the French. That's okay to say, right? Because they're white people. Surely? Are we allowed to? Am I allowed to make fun of them? Right, guys. I think I'm recovering from the previous faux pas just fine.
Actually, no. I know enough. Like, I could get by speaking French because there was a period of my life where I was joining the Royal Air Force here, like the Canadian Air Force here. And if you join a government like military position, you have to know.
Can I do a JF impression? Maybe. I think I did that in the past. Did they still never found Mama JF right? She became the Chips, as I recall. I can't believe JF got away with it. How did JF get away with murdering his wife, but then Brian Kogerberger went to jail when he's innocent? Am I right, pro burgers in the chat?
Both languages, kind of, so.
Turns out that Mutahar, the engineer and globe-trotting film producer, was also joining the Royal Air Force.
Oh, also, I'll just point out. So I went through quite a few documentaries about Aokigahara because Mutahar claimed to have worked on one when he was in Japan, if he ever went to Japan. And I actually found somebody that had the name Thomas Anas, which is Anas being Mutahar's last name. I don't think they're related, but I thought I had something for a second there, but then the stream went out. So I literally got my internet redeemed last stream. So I was wondering if it's possible that Mutahar had a screen name or something like that, but that'd be actually a very interesting turn of events.
Military was this was like way back in the day. Like this was like before high school. And
what? He does clarify.
This never happened.
Fair enough. I'll believe him on that.
But like,
based. It's very funny.
Like the only reason.
Yes, Mutahar's last name is Anus. I know. It's real.
I looked at the Air Force is like I couldn't afford university, and I wasn't going to go through a loan, so I was like...
Oh, when he said he was joining the Royal Air Force, he meant he was fantasizing about doing that as a way to pay for a degree. Because at the time, before high school, he couldn't afford university and didn't want to take a loan. But didn't happen, never tried to do that, whatever. It was just a pre-high school fantasy.
This is a pretty extreme instance of lying. Like, if he was an engineer for a month, I can get it. I can get him saying, like, I used to work in engineering because, yeah, it's technically true. But it's just like, well, I thought about going to the Air Force for like a week. Now, I think there is some Canadian classes that they're course direction towards going into the military. I think a lot of countries have this, right? Where it's kind of you go into a separate sort of learning curriculum, which prepares you for military service. Is that what Mutahar could possibly be talking about? Like he tried to join like the module for getting into the Air Force or some shit like that?
Son, I guess, is whatever, but there's something a bit weird here going on. A couple years earlier, talking to Dr. K of Healthy Gamer GG, he'd told a similar story. This time, though, it wasn't the Royal Canadian Air Force, but the Army. He says it was after high school, and he says he did actually apply.
After high school, it was just... I actually applied to the Army, but, you know, that didn't go anywhere.
I just noticed that, like, Dr. K's channel is called healthygamer.gg. I mean, Rekful wasn't so healthy, but okay. It's kind of ironic name.
Eventually, I just worked. I went to university for computer sciences, and that's it.
To be clear, in this interview, he does clarify that he was a dropout.
I thought when I got into university for a while, and I dropped out like a semester in, because I was like, okay, no, I'm not doing... Because University of Toronto, like the first semester that you went in, you paid this crazy amount.
There's a slightly questionable thing here as well, though. He explains to Dr. K that the reason he dropped out was that school's very, very expensive, and at the same time, he was getting more work on the side. So he had to choose, does he pursue that, or does he pursue school?
At this point, I started, you know, getting more work on the side. I started building up a career, so I was like, wait a minute, do I choose to go through this university path, which will work for me, or to go out on the career path? That's when I realized, like, okay, I'm on that tightrope.
But at the time, his explanation was significantly different. He would frequently thank his YouTube viewers for enabling him to get off the path he was on, one he found depressing. Not because he was making the calculation he was presenting to Dr. K, but because it simply wasn't what he wanted to do.
What else did I have forward to look to in my life? Future of a menial job and whatnot, you know, just becoming the standard 9-to-5 guy. No, at this point, you guys have made me change my entire career path. I am on my way to become what I want to be, a documentary filmmaker. All right, I'm on my way to become one of those. All right,
and he didn't.
I mean, unironically, that would be fun. I mean, I want to make more money with my other endeavors as well, so I can spend more time doing some documentary filmmaking as well. But it seems like Mutahar just it all happened in his mind. So I couldn't find anything. Like I did about an hour's worth of research. So obviously not that extensive, but I did try and find anything going through IMDb, internet transcripts and things like that. I couldn't find anything where Mutahar was credited, but he's been claiming he's in movies and TV. So it seems like his entire backstory has just been completely fabricated. Again, the only thing that I found that could have possibly been related to Mutahar was that Tom Anus guy, who I could not find have any relation to Mutahar, just the same last name.
He didn't simply leave education to pursue a career. He wasn't simply dropping education for work. He still needed a different education. He went to film school instead.
Maybe it's like the Harry Potter thing, like where it's like the middle name. I need Tom's middle name. It's like Tom Malavio Anus, and you rearrange it. It's like I am Mutahar or something. Maybe that's what we're missing this entire time.
Was his passion. I don't know, I think if I was talking to someone about this, I would have brought that up. A minor point, sure, but why did none of his stories ever stay the same? On that topic, Dr. K asked him what work he was doing in high school.
And so you said you were working in high school? What kind of work did you do in high school?
Just computer work early in. That's what I was doing, you know, your basic like part-time work, nothing.
So previously he was claiming that he was coding a bank app, like a bank security app or something. I don't think they're going to hire just someone that's still in high school to do that for their multi-million-dollar banking industries. It doesn't really make sense.
You know, substantial. I was also a student at the time, and in fact, a lot of my work really ended up being just like basic community service work, just to rack on the hours.
That all sounds fine, doesn't it? But he's told that story before.
I was basically finishing up my, you know, high school diploma and everything, and at the time, you know, I worked a little computer programming job. I worked as a pen tester, you know what I mean? Like I got into the...
Now, the chat was very mean to me the other day. Like I see Sean being very nice, gifting me 1 membership. So obviously he supports my opinions on immigration. Anyway, pen tester is penetration testing. Okay. I was like, pen tester, you mean like writing? No. Penetration testing for like defense, like the stuff that Pirate Software claims that he did as well. Okay, so maybe they both worked at Blizzard. Who knows? Also, he sent one more membership. Thank you very much. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe he's going to refund it. Who knows? But you got to thank Sean if you get a membership. He claims that, like, Mutahar was claiming that at this time he was going to make way more money doing pen testing than doing YouTube. But this was like 10 years ago when he was getting like maybe 30,000 views a video or something. When he went up to like, I think his average is like 1 million a video or something. So he had no idea what was in store for him. And it's very likely that he just was planning to do these things to some degree. And then it just was much easier to take the path of least resistance and keep making YouTube videos, talking about doing things. Also, Fallen Hero, member for 8 months. Thank you very much.
The whole thing early, I had a couple connections. It's a pretty important job, and I was good at it. I made a fair amount of money at it, and if I still did that job, shit, I'd be a lot more richer than I would be at any point in time. But
also, there's a kind of a lingering question is because it's not necessarily evidence of anything, but Mutahar's parents have very, very good jobs. I mean, his father went to medical school twice and worked on the Ebola cure, allegedly, according to Mutahar. So saying that university would be too expensive doesn't really make a lot of sense because, in theory, you'd think that his parents would help him through university. Now, that's not necessarily the case because a lot of parents don't do that and they want their children to make their own way. But I would think if you had a family that had an uncle that's a theoretical physics lecturer, a mother that's doing microbiology, a father that's working the Ebola cure, like doctoring, I feel like they would have paid for their son to go to a good university. Worked on the Ebola or to help create Ebola? I guess it wasn't clarified. I believe he said he worked on Ebola. Maybe he meant the cure. How big is the family? Well, I think we can guess.
Bottom line is, I used to work a job like that out, and that was one of the careers that I had.
I guess now that's just become a little part-time job and he mostly did community work. Back in the day, though, he was using that experience to make claims like this to hundreds of thousands of people.
Guys, I'm a cybersecurity expert. I've worked in the business. I know what I'm doing, all right? And this is why I always give a disclaimer. Be careful. All right, let the professionals handle it. I'm a professional. I got this.
A lot of people aren't bothered. They don't think it's weird. He was just a baby. He was merely a freshly 21-year-old toddler. He's surely grown out of it.
He was just 21 years old, you sick fuck.
I think it's weird as fuck. And back to the topic of this video after that tangent. There's another thing I find weird as fuck. Apparently 5 years ago, someone recorded one of his streams and re-uploaded it. The stuff you'll see on the desktop is whatever that guy was doing. In this broadcast, he talks about his plan to go into the military, but he starts the story in a way I find very, very strange.
Let me just give you this scenario.
We got a Mutahar Max in solidarity. Where's this? There we go. Now I too want to be in the red zone. Do it like this. There we go. Wait. No, that's not good. Like this. There's no space on my table. Fuck. There we go. We're gonna match his freak. There we go. Close enough.
Okay, like real quick. This is sort of my if I was in engineering.
If he was in engineering? What the hell does that mean? Oh, maybe he was saying if I wasn't in engineering, I'd go into the military. No, this is about how he was going to get his engineering degree.
One of the things that I was actually doing one day was like, before college or anything, I actually thought about, going.
So this is SOG Game Stream Active. YouTube ghost videos are hilarious. Conspiracy video too. Some ordinary shadow.
Going into the military and shit. And when you go into the military, I was planning on going to the military to like study engineering.
But that didn't work out, he said to Dr. K. He said he didn't want to take a loan. So instead, was he just going to pay out of pocket for an engineering degree with his side gigs? What is happening here? I'm happy to be shown I'm just misunderstanding things and I'm lacking information. In fact, I'd love to hear the story because it sounds like it must be incredible. You can say he has a right to keep things private, but that's not quite right. He did, but he chose not to. He chose to blab endlessly about his life, actually, to an audience of thousands upon thousands of people. People aren't climbing in his damn walls. They're asking about public media he published. And Mutahar himself has warned against trusting people who claim expertise on the internet.
That's another thing, is that, like, Mutahar is so popular that you would expect that just through random chance, one of the things that he had worked on, somebody in his audience would have known about or seen. Like, you know, it's one thing if you've got like a tiny stream and you can kind of make vague talk about like, oh, I was in this, but people are really good at finding shit these days. Like I would make some jokes about like various gaming channels that I had and people found them straight away. Like it's so easy to find this shit. So you would think with someone with like literally getting like millions a day in views, somebody would have known, but nobody can find anything that he's worked on apart from his student film projects where he went to what was a community college for like 2 years. Why doesn't he just tell people? I mean, surely you'd think he'd be proud of his work.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, a game that has so much controversy right now. Tons of grifty accounts online fell for this one fucking person lying about their, credentials as a Japanese university historian expert.
This is the Canadian military, though, so you never know what they're up to.
Even though it took 5 seconds to Wayback Machine their account and
Yep, good tip. Thanks, Mutahar. I used it. Other tools as well are very useful for checking these things.
figure out, oh, they were just some random white guy from, some part in Indiana. Okay, some random dude on the internet.
You'd be surprised how many white guys are trying to pretend to be different races, specifically Japanese. There's like a epidemic of fake Japan posters. One of them, I feel like I want to do a video at some point. This guy that's Cog, but not the Cog that you guys, not the sector Cog. There's another Cog that's like really annoying because he just, hold on, I'll show who he is. Hold on, what was his name? Oh, here it is. Colonel Otaku Gatekeeper. This guy's been LARPing as a Japanese guy for his entire life. I guess since 2017 he's been LARPing, and he's so funny. Because he would he uses like AI and stuff. So this is his intro. This is intro for him.
Do you remember when you first got into anime? You knew something was different about it. It was not like other cartoons.
Hey, wait, Ed and Eddie's great.
It was ambitious in its storytelling. It was detailed in its vision.
Anyway, this guy has been pretending to be Japanese for like years, and he'll steal people's videos and pretend that they're his video. Like he pretends to live that he's in Yokohama. He lives in the UK, by the way. I actually believe that this guy's Indian. It's my personal opinion. He's either Indian or Southeast Asian pretending to be Japanese. He claims that he's half Japanese, half American, or whatever, or half. No, it's AI voice, I believe. It's an AI voice. But at one point, he actually put out this. He put out a note on his Twitter page saying, like, the truth is, I'm like actually embarrassed about being British or something. Let me see if I can find it. Cog. It's kind of weird. All these British people are called Cog. I don't know. Maybe somebody has it, but it's very cringe. And now he just posts like far right Japanese memes, and he always says stuff like, "We're taking back Japan," and then all his replies are just like, "We." And he always does this really cringe watermark on his shit as well. He's very angry about Turks, apparently, for some reason. I'm an AI voice. Apparently, he's mad at Charlie Kirk now because he was like, let's see, breaking news. Sensato has announced they're inviting American right-wing activist Charlie Kirk to speak at their event in Tokyo on September 7th. We are so back, America/Japan. But then he's like, it has come to my attention that during Shinzo Abe's government, Shinzo Abe, Charlie Kirk criticized our immigration policy for being too strict. I did not know he had these views. I just want to go to his comments and see if some of the first direct response is like saying "ow." Gotta be careful when I scroll down these things, though, because you never know what's going to happen. But all the responses are like "ow, ow, ow," and then they're just people shitting on him for being like for being a British man or whatever he is, pretending to be Japanese. Anyway, at some point, we might talk about him again. He's very cringe, and there's a whole kettle of fish there. And if only we could figure out where he really was. But I think my favorite time that he did this is he stole someone's like live walking video, walking around Yokohama, and he did an AI dub over it. And then he pretended that he was just out for a walk in Yokohama, and he was saying that he was in between shifts working at a Family Mart. It's just like the most cringe shit. It's the most cringe shit. He's just like, I was out for a walk between my shifts in Yokohama as a Family Mart employee, and I thought I would record this video on right-wing politicians in Japan. Anyway, we'll go back to it at some point. I think it's very funny though, but it's kind of like a long story I have to kind of put together.
And even if you took their Japanese like name, put it into like the Tokyo University or whatever university they claim to be, you couldn't even find that person.
Another good tip. There's a tool that works just like that for engineers.
Is he autistic? Well, he likes anime, so that should be your answer.
In your province, you plug someone's name in to see if they're licensed.
See, people don't even want to do the bare minimum of research. Nobody wants to do even 5 minutes of research.
This is true. This is very true. You can get away with so much just by saying shit. Nobody ever researches or fact checks these days, except for like autistic people on Twitter that are looking for arguments. Those are the only people that fact check.
But they'll believe anything an account says.
So fucking true. Thank you, Mutahar. By the way, I've seen some people say he never claimed to be working as an engineer. Personally, I get a different impression from him.
He absolutely did. He said he absolutely... Don't even pretend this didn't happen.
Statements like this from 2023.
As an engineer, if I show up to my office and I fuck up, okay, I don't have a job anymore.
Grok has replaced most research. This is true and very frustrating. There was somebody that was like, we need to find a new slur to talk about people that just ask Grok for answers. And we still haven't found anything good for it. But this annoys me to no end. Grok, is this true? Grok? Grok, could you confirm? Now, if you do like a funny one, like, hey, Grok, could you respond to this in like pretending to be an orc from Warhammer 40k and explain, I don't know, some random fact, that can be funny. But the people that are just like, they instantly, Grok, is this true? And then Grok will say some stupid shit. Which is obviously like just not the case. And you like back it up with facts. You're like, this is not right, accurate. And Grok is like, oops, actually, you're wrong. It's not great. The only thing that really AI I think is useful for at the moment is like when you can't remember the name of a movie and you're like, oh fuck, what's that movie where a guy go back in time and he almost gets a BJ from his mum? What movie is that? And it's like, oh, you're thinking about Red Dead Redemption? You're like, no, not that one. Lunching Criminal says, I need 500 in Google Play cards, Sarah-san. Hey, look, I'm going to need $200,000 in Google Play cards if this immigration reform goes through in Japan. You're going to send me money because I'm sad. Thank you, Sean.
I'm sure the guy who calls himself an engineer every 2 seconds and tells everyone YouTube isn't his job, he has a real one, was purely talking hypothetically. Let's hop back to that other clip.
When I went to the World Expo Fair, where I got sunburnt, I actually still have a tan from that. With the Jamaica float, actually had the Cool Runnings. Maybe it was a mock-up, but they actually had the Cool Runnings sled, and we got inside and did our Cool Runnings photo shoot. I actually really love the movie Cool Runnings. Me and my family went to see that, and I remember we just ancient meme posting back in the day, just saying Cool Runnings. It means peace be the journey. We're having so much fun. I love that movie. It's such a good movie. He's going to live, that guy that was going to live in Buckingham Palace. I'm going to live right down there. Oh my goodness. That was such a wholesome family event, going to see Cool Runnings.
And he explains why, even if someone making such claims hasn't done something wrong yet, there's always a future threat if they're accepted as an authority and no one checks.
Now imagine with generative AI taking the extra steps to, bulletproof this account and make it look even more legitimate. You could actually go beyond just goofing on Assassin's Creed Shadows and turn it into serious misinformation. Imagine an actual piece of misinformation suddenly showing up on national news, international news.
I mean, that actually just happened though, but not with like generative AI at all, but like just the Assassin's Creed in general, like the Yasuke posting. Because the answer is Yasuke a samurai was never fully answered. And there is no answer to it. He didn't have a last name, which is typically what samurai would have, although there were samurai without last names. He stayed in Japan for like a year. He was definitely a retainer. He was definitely a warrior. But was he a samurai? I mean, it's open to interpretation. I would say no, but I can definitely see the argument that he was. And it doesn't really matter if he was or not. But essentially, Yasuke went to Japan. He got sold as a slave to, was it Oda? Nobunaga? And he worked for him for like a year, carried his swords around. And then when he died, Oda, that is, he went back to the Jesuit missionaries. Most samurais didn't just like have part-time jobs as samurais, so that's why I would say he's not a samurai. They either commit Sudoku or would work for a different lord after that. But he's like, oh, that was a fun little working holiday in Japan. Time to go back to the Jesuits. So no, I would say he wasn't a samurai, but he was definitely a warrior. But even today, people still argue about this fact. Actually, the guy that translate the Johnny Somali stuff, Dr. What is it, Narud? He does a lot of he argues a lot with people about Yasuke.
Spreading like wildfire. And it was not until the actual bomb blows that people start correcting themselves. That's a serious issue. And that's something that I think people need to watch out for going forward.
Damn straight. You got to catch things early, check them, and get them straightened out. Because, people have asked, well, what has he said that's wrong? And I have no idea. That's the problem. As a layman listening to him, if he said something wrong, I would believe it's true. Well, just check it for yourself. What, just nip out, get an education real quick so I can be sure that I understand what I'm looking at? Nah. Deceptive claims of expertise or credentials or experience are a problem in and of themselves. And you just heard Mutahar lay out a much...
This is a pretty big problem on YouTube in particular as well. People just claiming sort of credentials that they just do not have. Usually you can check, though. At least it's American. Like, it's crazy how much information you get about people from America. In other countries, it's not as bad. I bought the propaganda. He was just a slave. What do you mean? I said he was sold to Nobunaga as a slave. I think the chat is just trolling me sometimes. I don't know. It's hard to tell though, because sarcasm doesn't really come out very well through comments on YouTube. Oh my goodness. Black Samurai couldn't hold job. Food stamp samurai. He did get like a koku of rice or whatever, right? He did have his stipend, so that's true. But no, samurai wasn't really a part-time job. It was a way of life. So I don't think he was a samurai.
Stronger case for that than
Checks Josh's LinkedIn. I actually went back and deleted my LinkedIn like 2 weeks ago, just because I hate LinkedIn so fucking much. LinkedIn is the worst. Like I had a LinkedIn that I had never used. I used it once like 5 years ago or something. And then I was just like, oh, is that thing still exist? Because one thing that I look at is LinkedIn lunatics, which is really funny. But I actually, if you have a LinkedIn, I advise you to go delete it as well. Hold on, let me see if I'll look at this after this video is almost done. But LinkedIn lunatics is really fun to read.
I will. And I'm sure any day now, he'll clear all this up and I'll cover that as well.
All right, very good. We're still waiting to see if Mutahar is going to return. It's a mystery. Do you think Mutahar will be back this week? Let's see. When will Muta return? 1 week. We'll say 1 to 2 weeks. Never, or after he becomes an engineer. We'll just type NG for short. Oh, look at this. I can watch some based Grubby after this stream. That's a very good recommendation. Thank you very much, YouTube. I love Grubby. He's so good. Grubby is this like, what is he, Dutch or something? He plays Warcraft 3. He plays Warcraft 3, and I've been binging his videos a little bit while I work. All right. We'll look at some LinkedIn lunatics. This is some fun. Go sub to the Grub. And also harmful opinions. All right, let's see. Let's see. This is an example of a LinkedIn lunatic. I turned down a promotion last week. My boss was shocked, unable to comprehend why I would reject a 30% raise after years of hard work and late nights. I explained that I feared making this much money would cause me to lose my drive and stop working hard. In a moment of enlightenment, he offered me a 20% salary reduction instead, which I proudly accepted. I was overjoyed to help the company's P&L and maintain my relentless dedication to mediocrity. Obviously, this is a joke, but there are people on LinkedIn that really sound like this. Remember, LinkedIn friends, true success lies in embracing the beauty of stagnation and never becoming too financially stable. Follow me for more clear career advice. This is the joke one, but there are some real people. Let's see if we can find some real ones. What's this one? No AI today, some spoken topic that baffles we accept. Since I quit porn 2 years ago, what no one told me about porn and how quitting it changed everything. That's not that funny. We're going to see the ones about B2B sales. That's the best one. Those are the best ones. Let's see what we can get. What is this? I told my wife I was going to San Francisco for venture capital. I was referring to vacation and chill, obviously. Oh, never mind. But she thought I meant venture capital. So I did what any terrified husband would do and built an AI agent that booked a VC meetings. This was the most productive vacation ever. What the fuck is this guy talking about? Let me see what, like, oh, this is honestly very funny stuff. I just have to find one that proves it. It's like, let me see. If you're kidnapped, don't call your parents. Call your HR. They will negotiate better. This is a real one. HR manager, she absolutely believes this. And there are these entire communities of LinkedIn people, like LinkedIn influencers, they call them. But this, she absolutely believes it. The Vishwarishwan Swan in, she absolutely believes that. Let me see if we can find another good one. Let me see. I had an awful experience at dinner tonight with my family. A couple sitting next to us spent the better part of an hour saying horrible things about us and the other diners around us. It was wildly inappropriate and incredibly uncomfortable. Rather than get angry, I got up calmly and went to the hostess stand. I paid their tab and a hefty tip and left a simple note, don't judge a book by its cover. We boxed up our food and took our daughter to get froyo. In life and in business, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. Staying true to yourself and your core values is way more important than external validation. I feel strongly that operating on these principles as a human will bring happiness, peace, and success back to you tenfold. Hope their night gets better. And everybody clapped. Everybody clapped. Growth astronaut. Wait, what? Oh, dear, dear, dear. I need to find like one of my favorite ones. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here's one about engineers. I met a guy in San Francisco who only hires engineers who've rage quit at least one unicorn. He says if you haven't deleted Slack and flown to Oaxaca, I don't know what that is, mid-sprint, you haven't suffered enough to write clean abstractions. Their interview starts with, tell me about the last time you lost faith in your PM. If the story ends in therapy, he fast-tracks you. He calls it trauma-oriented development. Apparently, retention is through the roof. This is actually very similar to what Pirate Software was talking about when he moved from Amazon to Amazon from Blizzard. But these ones aren't as crazy. Like there's some of these are the ones that come up on my actual timeline are really usually very good. Let me see. I slapped a sales rep for asking how to overcome an objection. It was a pretty hard slap too, and I yelled, "Overcome this while doing it." Why? Because AI will tell you how to handle any objection. How? I built an AI prompt that turns messy call transcripts into objection handling analysis. Here's what it does. The fuck is this guy talking about? Let me see. I'll go through a couple more of them. But what? Oaxaca is Mexican Osaka? How would such a thing? There's a Mexican Osaka in Osaka. This one's got 3,000 upvotes. Let's see what this one says. HR. I rejected a CV from a candidate twice. He applied for a third time. I called him for an interview, and guess what? We offered him a role right after the interview. Now, over a year later, I have since left that company, but he's now in a leadership position. And he's one of the top billers. Lesson learned, do not always judge a person solely based on their CV. Well, that's true. Sometimes there are more than their 2-page outline profile. Give a chance to candidates. They have energy and ideas, more than you might. Like, this one seems kind of, I don't see there's no problem with this one. That could be true. Or am I just deranged? Let me see. These are always like, when they come up on my timeline, they're always really good. Where's the ones about B2B sales where people are like going to their things? This guy, this is a true one. This one's fun. This one's actually funny. Is it okay to name and shame on LinkedIn? Very little makes me mad. I'm good at keeping it together at the toughest times. But check this out. We've been through a long search, hiring and selection and hiring process. As a potential hire, you agree to terms. Tell us how amazing and excited you are about joining us and get to send you a contract. You then use this to negotiate a bigger salary with your current employer and withdraw your acceptance. You had no intention of joining. That boils my piss. This is based. Suffer hiring manager being used so that you can get a better salary at the other job. His name is Mooj. Suffer. Good. You should always advocate for your best interest. Don't give a shit about the company. Don't be a company cuck. Let me see. Last night, a tsunami hit San Francisco. While making it safely to safety, it dawned upon me this chaotic frenzy is exactly what working in an AI B2B sales SaaS startup like Nook is. Here's what flashed through my mind mid-escape. This is a real one. This is the B2B sales ones are always real. You got to just understand. It's Naman Singh. He was absolutely thinking about this, working for his AI startup company. Oh, those ones always make me laugh. Let me see. These ones are always the cringiest ones too. Last night I checked into a hotel right across the street from my office. Why? I needed uninterrupted time and space to wrestle with a complex product challenge, a problem that we had to solve to move forward on our next iteration of Wave. So I created my own mini offsite. No meetings, no Slack pings, no kids, just me, a laptop, and a notepad. By midnight, I had it. The solution clicked. I finally understood what I was missing. In a world full of distraction, it's hard to achieve deep work. Sometimes you got to get creative. Have you tried stepping away to leap forward? Just go to the park, man. Renting a hotel room across the road to work. What a work cuckold. Let me see. The N word. This should be a good one. A client I worked with has mastered it in her professional life. Now she's applying it to her health and fitness journey because two things can be true. You can have a killer career and a strong, disciplined body, but only if you embrace the N word. No. No to time killers. No to energy vampires. No to toxic people, food habits, and excuses. No exceptions. Well, some exceptions. After all, it's the disciplined ones that are truly free. Hey, look, I embrace the N word as well. I agree. What is this? Stop trying to be so skibbity. It makes you look so sus. Slang evolves, fads come and go, and what's in today can change in a heartbeat. Stop trying to be someone you aren't, unless, of course, you are Sigma, in which case, don't make me yak your yum, and get smarter. How about you reach teens? What the fuck? This guy needs a PC check. This guy needs his PC checked immediately. What is this? How do you hold a spoon? I start every interview with this. Most candidates visibly sweat. Why are they Indian? And their food is not... because white people don't eat with their hands because their food ain't delicious. So they don't know how to use spoons. Spoons are mirrors. They reflect emotional intelligence, resilience, and untapped sales potentials. People often ignore this. They focus on experience and results. Think deeper. Every spoon tells a story. The trembling spoon, fears of KPIs. A tight grip, future CEO. Two hands, potential for greatness. What the fuck? Visit my website, helping generate quotas. Wow, great. Oh, dear. Let's see. What is this one? I often ask people the most difficult decision I've ever had to make. Spending 2 weeks of family holiday in Corfu on calls, cutting 25% of the work base, missing the birth of my child. No chance. Each one of these things were done to put the business first. The real answer? Selling my Tesla. After everything that's been going on, someone in my local area kept drawing male parts on the car. Now, this one could be real. I'm not sure if it's real or not. How many times I wiped them off and they appear again the next day. It wasn't funny then, and it isn't funny now. But it wasn't conducive to my personal brand, so I took the difficult decision to get rid of it. I bought a car after we turned around a difficult patch with a business. A little well done to myself. It stood for something. It stood for more. There we go. This one's, I believe that one's real. I want to believe that one's real. That he was wiping the cocks off his Tesla every day because Elon did bad. I met a guy over the weekend who said he didn't like LinkedIn. Needless to say, I don't think we'll be friends. This is me. Julia Guerrera. Content strategy. That's she met me and I told her that LinkedIn is gay. This is actually just true. Deleted LinkedIn. I'm adding you to the network, deleted LinkedIn. This is just actually facts. Let's see. B2B sales with Hulk Hogan. There are no strangers, only brothers. True. Train, say your prayers, and vitamin. When in doubt, rip it out. Finish with a leg drop. Based. Very based. All right. Might have had a couple more. Sorry. Let me see. Get yourself a Chinese co-founder. I haven't eaten a single bad meal since moving into Zhejiang's. I mean, maybe. Chinese people do have good food. But if I go to the Chinese restaurant and it's well, we won't get back into that. True or false? The people who say LinkedIn is only for weekdays are they the same ones who live for Friday like it's freedom? Let that sink in. If you only show up when the world or your job tells you, who's really in charge of your life? # fulfillment. Yeah, this coach and coach. I fucking hate coaches so much. Every coach is a fucking fraud. I hate those coaches almost as much as I hate. Well, let me see. I might go 1 or 2 more. Here we go. This is a good one. Bill Fanta, the $200,000 salary trap nobody talks about. A $200,000 salary is like a Venus flytrap. It draws you in. Then once you're there, it starts closing. Your company knows what they're doing. Fancy title that feeds your ego. Big bonus that gets you dreaming. Stock options that take years to vest. Benefits that are too good to leave. But while you're focused on that golden carrot, your network is shrinking. Your skills are getting stale. Your entrepreneurial spirit is dying. I've watched dozens of executives fall for this. And by the time they realized they were trapped, they were too scared to leave. The real cost of a salary isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in your dreams you'll never chase. Oh my goodness, guys. You got to watch out for that $200,000 salary trap with good benefits and stock options. Oh my goodness. Save us. Save us. Save us, Bill Fanta. Holy shit. If people on LinkedIn actually believe this crap. Oh, dear, dear. Dear, dear. All right. I think that's it for today. We'll be back maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. Check his bio short. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. All right. This is kind of funny. Lie to me, Pinocchio. Lie to me. Loud equals funny. This is funny on multiple levels. But anyway, that is it for today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking. And if you're a based replay watcher, be sure to tell me that you know exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about the different cultures. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, right? I don't sound like an insane person, surely. I'm a sick man. Maybe. Maybe. Oh, dear. All right, guys. Peace out. And what should we bend with? This one. The only true one.
Yeah. I like money, though. I like money. Oh, I like money.